is this whole entire hub right here that spins with the wheel.
Right.
Okay, this is separate from your axle. And if you take that nut all the way off inside there,
the castle nut
this
thing you
whole
showed us?
wheel will come off.
Okay.
And then you can see all your bearings, and they're just going to be an inner and an outer bearing, and they're tapered so that your wheel rolls to the center. But they run on a milled hub bearing race inside the hub, which is also tapered to the same angle. And that's how the wheel stays centered and runs heat free.
Okay.
So taking that all the way off is just as simple as pulling that, pull the cotter pin, undo the castle nut while it's jacked up.
Right. Okay.
And then you could pull this whole entire thing off here if there's not trailer brakes.
Right.
Okay, because that will complicate things. And with an easy axle like this will just come right off, and then you'll see your bearings right there.
Okay.
You could grease with this type of grease if you needed to grease those bearings. You just have to take a little bit out, maybe put it in the palm of your hand, and just work your bearings into the palm of that grease.
Okay.
And then put your bearings back on the way they're supposed to go on.
Now this is like 3.5 years old. Are those probably okay, the bearings then? Or
No,
should I have them?
absolutely. You've done well with maintaining your bearings and greasing them, and these are almost vital for doing that now, because if your trailer doesn't have these grease zerks on there,
right,
I would have them installed on there.
Wow.
Because the axles are all nowadays being milled with the grease zert fitting, and the ports inside the axle that come up right where your bearings are, and that's how that greases that.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So the older trailers don't have that, and some of them you can't put those on.
Right.
But if they don't have them and the axle will take them, put them on for sure. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah. Good.
Okay, this is a short video on axle nut adjustment. This is primarily that if you're having tire wear, like as shown here, where it's wearing on the outside of your tire, or on the inside, or you're having odd wear, then it means that your axle nuts are probably from the factory going to be set loose. So this is how it's real easy to adjust. First thing you need to do so that you can get free wheel spin is to jack up your trailer wheel with the proper size jack. This one is only a 2.5 ton, so it's a small jack, but it will handle this little single axle trailer just fine. What happens then, you need to have rotation so that you can tell how much play is in the tire, in the wheel, and you can see that there's play there that shouldn't be there, because when you get up to speed, this wheel will adjust with the road resistance and start eating your tread off your tire. Okay, so the first thing to do is remove the axle castle nut hub cover, and you can do that, and I've already taken this off. You just take a screwdriver and a little mallet and just tap around, with that, or a chisel or something that can pop this loose off of here, because it's got a shoulder on it that will pop loose easily. And then it's easily reset just by getting it even and tap it back on. What you want to have on hand is a large wrench the size of the castle nut, or a large crescent wrench, maybe a couple different types of needle nose pliers to remove and reinstall the cotter pin. You'll have to pull the cotter pin and then install a new cotter pin once it's adjusted. And then so we'll show you that process. And wrestling these out is not really that complicated. It's just a matter of bending them. They're soft metal, and will oftentimes come loose pretty easily. So I can see it under there. what we're going to check next is the wheel slack. The cotter pin's been removed, and the wheel castle nut will move freely oftentimes, and this is the problem with this right here. So what we're going to do is just tighten it a little bit, and then a lot of people and the factory too will always say, put the castle nut in so that it's all the way tight and the wheel won't turn. See, but look what happens. The castle nut's in tight. I can tighten it even further, and you'll see how the wheel stops moving as freely. But it's now riding on the bearings and not floating on the bearings. Okay, this is not too much resistance for this wheel hub. And what happens is at the factory, they'll put this in and they'll back it off, you know, sometimes one or two of these, and then you get this wheel rocking again. In fact, it was even more than that.
Yeah, it was.
But you get that wheel rocking, see? And that's no good because that will ruin your wheel and your tire and your hub. So this is a necessary thing that you need to do. Even if you buy the trailer straight off the lot, oftentimes this is going to be the case. So what we need to do is just tighten the hub so that it causes a firm plant against that wheel. This will not be too much. I will usually get it to stop rocking and then back it to the next available place where we can get a new cotter pin in. Now the new cotter pin that you put in has to be of comparable size and thickness, and so enough to come through and to come through the hole and come through all the way through the hub. Okay, now this one I'm going to use is a little bit shorter, but that's okay because it's a comparable thickness. Okay. And all you really want to do with this is to make sure that this stops from turning any in or out of where it's supposed to be. So you're sometimes going to find that it'll go right in like that, and sometimes not. But you just need to locate where your hole is, find out the best way to get it in without too much problem, and then make sure it's set all the way in. So you want to get it up in there and tap it if necessary. And get it set in place. And then of course you want to expand the ears on the cotter pin so that, and bend it over so that it keeps the castle nut from turning and it stays in place. And all you have to do is make sure that it's just bent enough to where it won't fall out and it doesn't obstruct your hubcap. Like that. Okay. And that will keep the castle nut from turning any further. It will give your trailer a real solid ride down the road. It's unobstructed and it turns smoothly. And then of course you can keep maintaining with your hub greasers. Okay, and then reinstall your hubcap. And I suggest using a rubber mallet just to prevent damaging your equipment, and that will stay in place. And that's the simplicity of fixing your hubs and stopping your uneven tire wear. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe.